What's up, folks? This is Soul. We're here to do what I call, or what is basically the blog read. We're going to go through we're going to just kind of read through what's going on, react to it, and that's kind of it. So if you don't mind, like the video, subscribe for more stuff. I have my chat here with me in case they want to read some things with me. And let's go through it one line at a time. Dragonflight Season 4 brings with it a variety of changes, including new adjustments to dungeons, their progression, and rewards. In the player feedback loop, as a part of ongoing development in Dragonflight, the development team identified 3 issues to address based on community feedback regarding the dungeon system as it is. One is that heroic dungeons are barely distinct from normal dungeons at maximum level, and that distinction mostly only matters during a few days after players first reach max level. Mythic Zero dungeons rapidly lose relevance a few weeks into an expansion, oh boy, once the Mythic Plus season starts, with occasional exceptions for the weekly event quest. The only truly endgame dungeon mode, Mythic Plus, currently revolves around a timer. This means that other than new mega dungeons, there isn't really a place for endgame players who enjoy a more methodical dungeon pacing and gameplay. Given the combination of 2 underutilized difficulties and a gap in meeting player demand, we're restructuring dungeon difficulty and rewards in Season 4. Heroic difficulty and rewards will move up to roughly the current level of Mythic 0. So it's kind of dying. These dungeons will remain available to queue up into via Group Finder, though the item level requirement to queue will go up accordingly. So heroic difficulty is going to be like Mythic 0, and it's queuable. That's pretty sweet. Mythic 0 difficulty and rewards will move up to roughly the current level of Mythic 8 through 10. That's a big jump. Wait, what? So Mythic 0 difficulty and rewards will move up to roughly the current level of Mythic 8 through 10. This is a bit hand-wavy numerically. It's close to Mythic 10, but not having a timer at all. Or affixes. Really offsets that quite a bit. Okay. So Mythic 0 is going to have, mob damage and blah, 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 equivalent to the 8 or 10, but there's no timer. And there's no affixes. Okay. The existing Mythic Plus system will pick up where that leaves off, such that a Mythic 5 in Season 4 is roughly equivalent in difficulty, rewards, and Mythic Plus to a Mythic 15 today. So, okay, here's a visualization. Okay, hopefully this will help. Here's a visualization of the change. Light blue circles represent where new affixes appear, going from Mythic 2 to 7 and 14 in the current world to Mythic 2, 5, and 10 in the new one. Okay, so they're rescaling the numbers. So right now, normal heroic 0, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so Season 4 and 11.0. So this is the plan going forward in the future. So normal's like this. Heroic will feel like this. Mythic 0 is going to go all the way here. So it's going to be basically tougher with better rewards. And then we introduce the timer. So this is kind of what I suggested, where, hey, we need to make it so that low level Mythic Plus doesn't have a timer. And then when we get to it, then we introduce like the cool stuff. The difference here is that there's still no affixes here. Okay. This is kind of neat. All right, no timer like the present. Season 4 changes will apply to all 8 of the Dragonflight dungeons. As a part of these adjustments, we have a few goals in mind: to recalibrate core difficulties to align with the seasonal player experience and progression, to serve the community who enjoys dungeon content but feels that Mythic Plus content isn't for them due to the pressures of taking part, and create a better environment in Mythic dungeons to prepare more players to take part in Mythic Plus. One of the most notable changes players can look forward to is the removal of the timer from Mythic Keystone dungeons for what are currently 0 and 10. Players can run through these dungeons at their own pace without the need to watch the clock while still honing their skills. So here's a look at the changes for each difficulty. Normal, whatever. Heroic, the tuning and rewards of this difficulty are increasing to be equivalent to a baseline Mythic 0 dungeon in the current system. Mythic difficulty changes and mechanics will not be present in this difficulty. This remains a queuable experience. So hits harder, not mechanically tougher, but basically the new Mythic 0 of sorts. So now we go into Mythic, starting with Mythic Zeros. The tune and rewards of this difficulty are increasing to the equivalent of a plus 10 with affixes in the current system. But there are no timers or affixes or limitations on changing specializations or talents while in the dungeon. The goal is to create a mega dungeon-like difficulty for this experience. This difficulty should present a meaningful challenge and provide commensurate rewards without the pressures of the current Mythic Plus system. Okay, so if it's gonna feel like a Dawn of the Infinite kind of thing, that I can get so far. Mythic Zero is still on a weekly lockout under this model. That part kind of sucks. Because it's like, what if I want to spam? But I think I get it because the rewards are going to be like that much better. So Mythic Plus. The Mythic Plus system will have rewards up to level 10 with plus 2 starting from what would regularly be an 11 in the current Mythic Plus system. Yeah. So this is really similar to what I was suggesting. Wow. We're actually kind of aligned here. But then the scaling here it's just kind of been squished down to like, okay, now it's just called the plus 2 or whatnot. So a plus 5 is going to be as hard as the 15, and a 10 should be as hard as the 20. Okay. Yeah. Now here's the thing too, is that this is going to be nuts because the way that affixes are going to be added, they're going to feel like way more punishing the way that I'm seeing it here. So like a plus 2, it's going to feel harder. You're going to get fortified tyrannical, whatever. And then plus 5, you have you have the level 5 affixes and then the level 10 affixes. So when you get to a plus 20, it's going to be like, get nailed. Like this, like a 10 will mess you up because not only are you reaching a 10, now you're adding like the additional affixes, and that's going to be like rough. So I haven't scrolled down yet. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, if a 10 is going to be as hard as a 20, then what about like Keystone Master, Keystone Hero, and stuff like that? Because I'm going to feel like I'm going to do great as long as I do like 9s or something. But then, of course, I'm not thinking of rewards or the Great Vault yet. Okay, dungeon ratings should be equivalent to what they represent in the current system. There should be a smaller range of keystone levels to find groups for and more meaningful progression between each level. Well, yeah, because there's only like this many levels. There's going to be this many levels now. All right, to the victors go the spoils. It's important to note that the basic structure of dungeon rewards is not changing significantly. So what you would have earned for completing a Mythic Zero will be earnable in the heroic difficulty dungeon instead. So here's a basic rundown of what you can expect. All right. I might need to make this a little smaller. Okay. So this is not something I'll be able to fully understand live. But okay, so we're getting all the item levels too. I have to make a new chart. Mythic 0 to heroic dungeons. Yeah, I'm not going to like fully comprehend like this set yet, but I guess so 9 and okay, so let's look at the end here. So 9 and up, Mythic plus 9 and up. And then okay, that's the Great Vault. I'm like, okay, what's this thing at the very end? Okay, so if I do Mythic Zeros, I get hero gear from the vault. Damn. that's pretty good. Now I wonder what's going to be the equivalent of getting oh shucks. What's going to be the equivalent of getting crests and all that stuff? That I'm going to be a little bit curious about. Yeah, so if I do Mythic Zeros, I get a hero gear. That's pretty crazy. And then if I do Mythic 10s, then I'm going to get No. Mythic nines and ups. Like this is the highest level gear that you'll be able to get, at least from like the dungeon drop, I guess. And then you upgrade it the rest of the way. And then so you're still only going to be able to get like myth level gear from the Great Vault. That's your only path for it. Okay. All right. So this kind of makes sense. For me, the immediate takeaway is, hey, if you do Mythic Zeros, you get hero gear from the Great Vault. That's pretty cool. Now, Mythic Zeros are supposed to be like pretty hard. It's going to be the equivalent of Dawn of the Infinite, but on the other hand, there's no timer, there's no affixes. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Now, at a glance, it makes me feel like if I just want vault gear, I don't need to do anything but Mythic Zeros, because then I'll just get hero gear. But I'll need to do 8s and 9s if I want any hopes of myth gear. But I'm not doing. This also tells me that I don't really need to do 10s ever, right? That's what this chart's telling me. That the only reason to do 10s is for your enrichment, for the glory, for pushing keys. So it feels like there are, it feels like they're just kind of pushing, pushing the prestige of being like a career Mythic Plus player, and putting that level 10 affix towards the end there. But they're also widening the gap. They're also widening the space for players who are interested in harder content but not time content to play. Okay, sorry. This is. I know this is very long, but trying to understand here. Okay, so Crest and Flightstone rewards are changed to match the same difficulty with only some minor adjustments. Flightstone earnings for any given Mythic Plus will match the equally challenging Mythic Plus from previous seasons. This means that a Mythic 2 in Season 4 will give the same number of Flightstones as a 12 in Season 3, as right now. The rewards will continue to match difficulty even if what we're calling those difficulty changes. Bonus Flightstones are increasing for any party members. Mythic Plus, yeah, that's fine. Wolfling crests are no longer available from Mythic Plus dungeons, as those difficulties no longer exist. Players can continue to collect Wolfling crests from many outdoor sources. Players will earn 10 drakes on a successful Mythic 0, as there's no timer. Worms are going to be available from 2 to 5s in the same quantities as existing Mythic Plus dungeons. Aspects will be available in 6s and higher. Okay, so let's go back to this chart real quick. So if we go back to like doing 6s here, like veteran gear drops from that. That's amazeballs. Actually, let me see if I'm seeing this right. So if I do 6 and 7s, or 6s, I guess, that means I'm dealing with 2 affixes. Is that right? Yeah. So 2, 5, and 10 are like those breakpoints. So yeah, I'm doing a 6 for hero gear. Okay, I could deal with 1 affix. Sure, no problem. We believe these changes provide new opportunities for players who experience Mythic. Blah blah blah, whatever. So that's cool. I'm liking this. I'm really liking this. This is pretty much exactly what I was hoping for, with the exception that they're speaking in new terminology, new scaling. So what we're going to get, folks, the takeaway, we're getting tougher content for people who want tougher content but without the timer. We're still getting like high difficulty. We're still getting high difficulty. The affixes are being pushed more towards they're being kind of squished. They're being pushed more towards the higher band of player skill, but also being pushed from the other direction. So that way, it's creating this space for more players to play. So I see a lot of pluses from here. Now I will at best play at this level, the Mythic 6 through the Mythic 6 level. To me, for me as a player, I see no value in going higher unless I want to just push and like get better stuff. Like if I wanted to get like myth gear or something like that. But here, like this is my house. Mythic 6 or so. And it also, excuse me, and it also kind of compels me to want to play in even the Mythic 0 space. Because at the very least, if I wanted to, like let's say I wanted to get aspects, cool, I'm doing 6s. But if I want just like a piece of gear from the vault, then I'm gonna do what? Freaking Ruby Life Dawn or whatever that thing is called. I just need to do one dungeon and in Mythic 0, and hero gear is going to come to me from the Great Vault. So let me see what chat's asking right now. I'm confused. Do you get Mythic Track Vault item from completing a 4? No. You get Mythic stuff from completing an 8 or a 9. That's where this myth thing is here. And that's the dungeon that you would need to complete, and that you would get it from the vault. No matter how high of a mythic dungeon, a mythic plus dungeon that you do, the highest that you'll get from the chest is going to be a hero piece of gear. It's going to be a hero 2 out of 6. So that's peak from the dungeon drops. So Mythic Plus people still need to do still need to rely on the vault in order to get Myth class gear, and that for the most part hasn't changed. I'm liking this so far, but I'm going to be interested to hear from more career-minded people. How do they feel about this new kind of like progression and gearing scheme? And even people who are not interested in like Mythic Plus, would this make you want to play through like these new kinds of difficulties? Because this is pretty lucrative. Like dungeons are going to be a lot more they're going to feel a lot more valuable. Now I wonder how the likes of Raid Finder is going to feel, because hey, if I can do this dungeon and get this kind of gear, how am I going to feel about Raid Finder? So we're going to learn more about season 4 stuff as we get closer to the start. And well, for now, let's just see what you folks think. Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe for more stuff, and I'll see you guys for the next thing. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.